and you
Everybody hype you up.
I mean, like more than that, like you're just trying to like set up the space, make sure nothing or no one will interrupt with
Yes.
that moment, that special moment of the drop. I'm just like I'm making sure I'm encouraging my kids to go a different way, my wife in a different direction, and like I might set up. I might connect to a router, or if I don't have a router, I'm gonna make sure I set the phone very carefully
Oh yeah.
on the table,
It's all
and
about the environment. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the VeVe Podcast. Let's talk about the recent AMA on Discord. I think most of us have heard about the main ideas from it now, but I wanted to make this episode to analyze things a little bit because it was a very short AMA, surprisingly, but it was packed with a lot of insight. The first thing that the team talked about was the OTC over-the-counter transaction between a VeVe user and VeVe that involved some non-public mints held back by the company. So to those who might not be aware of it, I will give you a 1-minute summary. This news broke, I think, evening last Sunday when some community members saw many NFTs being transferred from the VeVe wallet to a particular user's wallet, which involved some NFTs that people consider grails. And that caused a lot of attention and discussion from the community because there was no drops happening at that time, and that transaction was a little bit interesting. So long story short, in the AMA, David Yu was not present because he was traveling, but he did write a letter that Alex read to the community, basically saying that there was a user who reached out to acquire a large number of NFTs from VeVe, which is something that is normal in the brick and mortar retail space that David is in with his physical collectibles. So basically VeVe holds back a number of collectibles from every drop and comics too. And so what happened was, after receiving that inquiry, the company, VeVe, and that user agree on a fair price. But because the total amount was too large for a credit card transaction, because you have to load the gems multiple times, and this is a huge transaction apparently, they did things off the app. So Alex also mentioned that they will improve communications and best practices on these deals going forward. Now, for me and Mr. V, we think that it's best to say exactly what Alex mentioned in the AMA, which is what I just did, and we won't analyze things further, simply because A, we have respect for all the parties involved in this event, and we think, well, we are sure they want some privacy, and B, we are all outsiders, and obviously there are many things happen behind the scene that we don't know of, or we don't have any way to verify to be able to confidently discuss with you. So because of those two reasons, we prefer not to speculate on that topic and move on to number 2, which is the VeveVerse. Did you have a chance to listen to that AMA, particularly on the VeveVerse?
no, I missed it. I missed it.
Okay, I got you. So the first phase of the VeveVerse was originally scheduled to be coming out today, essentially. So today is the end of March, which is the end of Q1 2023. That did not happen because they faced some challenges. So the new deadline will be mid-April. And for those who might not be familiar with the different phases of the VeveVerse, the first phase will just be focusing on the showrooms. So this is not going to be like your whole metaverse experience. You're not going to get your property with your house and all the different rooms. A lot of the new things that we will get in phase 1 will be the improvements with the showrooms. I think they might potentially expand the showrooms or give us more options to decorate our showrooms, and that's that. So the rollout of the VeveVerse will be in phases, and in every phase, a small group of users will be granted access. So for this phase 1 is coming out mid-April, which is in about 2 weeks. A beta group will be selected and will receive emails from the team. And these users who might assume maybe use the product a lot or maybe use a showroom a lot, so they have a lot of experience and insight and potentially feedbacks, will be invited to use the very basic VeveVerse. And then they will roll out to a bigger group of users. Something else that they mentioned was they were able to integrate 27,000 collectibles. And this is a really good news because for a long time, if we were to talk about in-app improvements, we haven't seen anything being done to the showroom there is a showroom V2, but it looks pretty much the same as the showroom V1. I don't see any improvement at all. So this will be good. And at first, when I heard this news, I was like, well, it is a showroom. What are you going to do with it? And I hope that they will surprise me. And I hope that they will improve the performance of the showroom, simply because, you know, we've seen the VeveVerse demo from last year's decon, right? Like, you see all these cool collectibles loaded in the same environment, and that was really cool. But the problem that we are facing today, especially for a content creator like myself, I like to go into people's showroom and film them, because guys like Leighton or Adam Goku, they create amazing, and Big Red Circle too, and many other that I forgot the name, sorry. They create amazing showrooms, and I always want to come in and film them. But because the showrooms would usually crash when there are multiple Disney Golden Moment NFTs, or there are multiple animated collectibles, I hope that improvement will be included in this first phase of the VeveVerse version 1.
Well, it sounds like it, right? Because they said 27,000 collectibles in.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Good.
So that's cool. And for some reason, I feel like we might see comics in the showroom. This is pure speculation, but why not, right? Like, it's just something that they promised for a long time, and I feel like it's pretty easy to do, especially if you can integrate all the animated collectibles. Why not the comics, right?
Well, I think in one of the previous AMAs, they did mention that comics was not going to be put on the back burner, and they were just going to try to address many more. Like, they wanted to allocate their funding and their time and energy and resources to other areas that were more pressing than comics.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Let's just say it'd be a nice bonus if they did get comics on there.
Yeah, I think that I'll be very happy to see an improved showroom experience, because I love to go in people's showroom. I bought a brand new iPhone just to go in people's showroom and film it. So I will be very interested. And I think for the whole community in general, because many of us invested in OMI, and OMI kind of depend on the NFTs and ultimately more so on the VeveVerse to succeed, because OMI will be utilized a lot in the VeveVerse. Having a glimpse of the VeveVerse and actually seeing, you know, and actually using it, I think will give people a really good visualization on what the experience or the product that will bring value to the OMI tokens maybe 2 years from today. I think that it will bring a very positive sentiment to everybody, especially the OMI holders.
Yeah. I mean, I chose to sell off all of my OMI for collectibles because I saw a greater opportunity with the collectibles, but also it was maybe because I was very disappointed with how VeVe or the management of VeVe, they said one thing about a particular collectible and then they backtracked and changed it, which really wrecked my portfolio value. And that was just devastating. So I kind of learned, when I see it, I'll believe it, you know. And then that's kind of like it's one of those tricky situations too, because like usually the biggest gains are made when you're buying when no one else is, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm more than likely going to be buying as price action starts moving upwards, just because of a not so great situation that I experienced that was based on, I can't say promise, but like just based off of what they said, right? And I've learned I can't hold them to anything quite yet. And also real business is done on paper. So if like whatever they say, if it's not on paper, if it's not in a document where it's like where we can hold them to it, I just won't believe it, you know? So so for someone like me, I hope that utility for the OMI token gets implemented sooner than later.
Yeah.
Like everyone wins.
Yeah, I also hold more OMI. Like my OMI bag is worth more than my NFT bags. So I care a lot about the success of the OMI tokens. And well, both of my OMI bags and my collectible bags are extremely small. So I'm not like a whale or anything like that. Like I've mentioned multiple times, I have very few collectibles and very few comics because that's how much I can afford. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm not going to be very optimistic about it simply because VeVe has been neglecting the token for 2 years now. And if you think about like the OMI tokens onboarded so many users to VeVe, myself included. Like I heard about OMI first, and you did too.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And the thing about the OMI tokens is not everybody wants to collect, right? But people always want to invest into something. And having OMI on the same chart as other coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and seeing it moves in comparison to other metaverse tokens will get a lot of attention from people who might not be familiar with VeVe or collecting in general, and that will be a good gateway for people to join the app. So I really hope that they will actually do something with OMI just to prove that they actually care. So that's that, yeah. But basically, going back to the VeveVerse, this is going to be phase one. It's going to be improvement to the showrooms. My expectation is that things will load faster. It will be smooth, and we may get a much bigger showrooms, and hopefully maybe down the line some VeVe branded accessories like shelves and tables and chairs. That would really increase the engagement in the app, because ultimately VeVe wants people to spend time on the app, right? So I'm pretty excited about that. The next point is MCP. So 20,000 users have the beta version of MCP as of a few days ago. 20,000. Do you have access?
I don't.
I don't either.
I have crypto in, but I haven't loaded fiat, or I haven't bought gems that way yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder what kind of criteria they use to select these users, because I started VeVe like February 2021, so I was definitely pretty early. But anyways, I don't care too much about MCP, to be honest. There will be 100 levels total, 20 ranks, and 5 classes: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. And this is something promising, which is they will build a pathway to combine the OMI utility program and master collector program to become sort of like a VeVe loyalty program. And what that means is if you buy NFTs using OMI, you get point. Well, you will get MCP point, and that will add to your total daily points and passive point. And you can ultimately use those MCP points to have more entries in a waitlist system, and get a higher rank in OUP, those kind of things. So it's the two systems will work together to benefit you essentially. To be honest, I don't care too much about MCP. I think it's too late for me now, and I like to focus on the FAs and collecting a small number of collectibles. But it is a very interesting play, and I can kind of see that like two things. Since MCP came out, I did notice that people were buying more, because that kind of competitiveness kicked in a little bit. Like, oh, I see you having 200,000 points. I want to get there too. I want to kind of like get to somewhere, I don't want my point to show up tomorrow and be like 50,000. That's going to be embarrassing. So I saw some people started buying things that will help them with points, like the rare comics or very cheap sets. That's really cool, because that brings some momentum to the market. The other thing is that having these people sharing their points and their daily progress does bring really good sentiment to the community. If you think about I noticed over the past 2 weeks, the sentiment has been pretty positive. People were happy to get their points, their rank. People started competing. Oh, you have rank 35? Look at me. I have 37, but I'm not that far from you, so I'm going to try harder. That will create a lot of organic content to spread the awareness of VeVe, because if you think about it, back in 2021, a lot of people knew about VeVe because of the showroom photos having like Spider-Man, Batman in it. So I think it's going to be a very positive in that sense.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. Like, I don't have enough collectibles. I don't have enough sets. I think I have like 16 sets, and
I have 3 sets.
Right, it's a start. And so like the incentives, I just don't see them like impacting me in the way that other significant players would be able to benefit from. The other thing that I was thinking about was the wait list, and you being able to use those tickets, whatever tier system they had. That is going to kill me, because I tried out the DC NFT website or program or platform. Do you remember what that's called?
Like the DC, are you talking about the DC Comics NFTs? Like the Action Comics #1?
Yeah, that platform. I tried it for a short bit, and I just couldn't get into it. It was a little tough for me. And then as they
Why is that?
It wasn't as user friendly, I think, when I was
Mm.
actually access the market. It felt very like how could I put it? Very choppy in a
Mm-hmm.
way. Like it wasn't as intuitive, and I think the selection wasn't as nice, and like there weren't any collectibles like that caught my eye. Like I don't have an affinity for DC comics, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
More of a Marvel person, so I think that it was an unfair disadvantage for them with me. Like I just wanted to experiment with it, like when the Superman comic came out, or when the first comic with Robin from Batman and Robin came out. Like I tried to go for those drops. Anyhow, I was trying it out with that waitlist system as they were continuing to make adjustments from drop to drop. And
Mm-hmm.
man, I am not a fan.
Same.
It's not
Same.
exciting.
I don't like waitlist system. Okay, go on. You tell me why. Go first.
It takes the excitement out of it for me. Like even if I miss it, I love being able to go on the market and
Mm-hmm.
find mints immediately. And over there, I still like I tried it for a couple months, and like honestly, I didn't really take the time to figure out how to find out what mints each comic or whatever mints they had. And
Mm.
all I know is like what rarity I got, and that's it.
Yeah.
I could have very, I may very easily have sold a number one of a comic or something, and
Right.
without my knowledge. But anyhow, the waitlist, I'm just not a fan of it at all.
Yeah, this is my experience. That's why VeVe pay 30% of their revenue to be on the App Store, to be on mobile. Because okay, these are the three ways to compare a tech product. Is the functionality, which is essentially the same on both apps. Like you are getting collectible, right? You clicking buy now, getting collectible price, and which is basically the same, like $10 for comics. But usability is the third factor. And the usability on VeVe is so good and it is so underrated. Like the fact that they make onboarding so easy and using the app so convenient is what brought so many people to VeVe, because like if like that's why they paid 30% of their revenue, so much money, to be on mobile, because they want you to be able to buy the collectible anytime, anywhere. You don't have to wait on the waitlist system. For me, because before I started using VeVe, I used NBA Top Shot, and they have a waitlist system. But the problem is, it's on a web app. So I have NBA Top Shot in one tap, and then I would enter the queue, right? And then I'm like, oh, I was basically like user 3,500 out of 50,000. So I just wait to get to my turn, right? Then what I would do is I would go on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter in a different tab, because I have so much time to wait to do other things, right? Then I would not engage with NBA Top Shot. So sometimes I would even forget, and I would go, make lunch or whatever, and forget to go back to that specific tab, which is buried somewhere in my browser, and purchase that collectible. So I think that experience for me is terrible. I don't want to see it on VeVe. And also, I love the adrenaline of going for that buy now button on VeVe. Like in my phone right now, well, I'm on the East Coast, right? So I have multiple timers. So usually VeVe drop happen at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have two timers for 10:55. So they let me know, okay, well, open up the app. You should, get excited. And I have another timer for 10:58, which kind of remind me of like, okay, well, this is when you should exit the blind box or buy now page, and go back in case, the timer gets weird or it needs time to reset. And then from 10:55 to 11:05, that 10 minutes is pure fun. It's pure adrenaline. Like I would like, the way that I go for drops is I would not use the timer on the drop, but I would count it myself. Like I would verbally say 10, 9, 8, and I would go 3, 2, 1, 0. So like when I say 0, that's when I click, and it works for me. So there's like that full engagement, that excitement, and adrenaline every single time. And even if I miss it, it's fun,
There's nothing else like it that I've experienced.
Yeah.
Especially like I stopped playing video games a long time ago, and this is by far the most fun I've had.
100%.
And like
even better if you have friends. Even better if you have friends.
I have yet to do a drop with multiple people around me, but what I can speak to is I am so intense when I'm like, how can I put this? When you see someone who's like, if you've ever seen like a video of someone who's about to break dance,
Mhm.
they're like everyone has to make it. You try and claim some space around you, and you and
Everybody hype you up.
you're I mean like more than that, like you're just trying to like set up the space, make sure nothing or no one will interrupt with
Yes.
that moment, that special moment of the drop. I'm making sure I'm encouraging my kids to go a different way, my wife in a different direction, and like I might connect to a router, or if I don't have a router, I'm gonna make sure I set the phone very carefully
Oh yeah.
on a table,
It's all about the environment.
and I have to have like something next to me, like a cup of coffee or a water, and make sure that like I'm situated where no one will bother me for like half an hour to an hour, like from the
Yes.
moment of the drop to when I'm done searching the market for the collectible. And I feel like all of that would be destroyed as soon as there's a wait list.
Because you basically stop paying attention for it, like you stop putting efforts to it, right? For me, so I usually have a team meeting in the past maybe 2 years, 3 years, 2 years. I would usually have a team meeting at 11 on a Thursday. Terrible time. So what I would do is for the first 5 minutes of that meeting, I would not turn my camera on. I would not say anything. Sometimes I would much rather be late, and it's okay for me to be late, I guess.
You forget.
But you don't mess with me from 11:58 to 11:05. I also want to go for that 4 minute rebound as well. So from 10:55 to 11:05, you don't mess with me. Like sometimes when I'm outside, when it's like a drop on the weekend and I need to drive, I would much rather stay for 20 minutes at a gas station on a highway so that I can hit the drop before I continue with my drive. Or I would ask my friend or my girlfriend to drive so I can hit it, because it's so much fun. And I feel like, yeah, having waitlist, you are so distracted. Oh, you need to, you need to wait an hour, half an hour. And then, yeah, so you definitely will find something to do during that period. And then you forget about it and you have 5 minutes to go for the drop, or well, to actually purchase it if you are randomly chosen. And then if you miss it, it's going to go back to the public pool and that's gone. Yeah. So I am not a fan of the waitlist system.
Yeah, like I was thinking about it too. Like one of among the few reasons why or how I could see it be in someone's favor or someone's advantage or beneficial even is, say for example, if you use your phone for work as well, or if
Mhm.
you have people contacting you for family or whatever,
Yeah.
and you can't predict when they contact you and they call you and you use your phone for the drops. Like if you're it's happened to me on exactly when the drop happens, I get a phone call and
Oh,
I
I get
curse
that
so
too.
loud. I curse so loud. I'm so angry. I'm like ready to throw my phone across the room. Like, it's over. It's done.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to talk to the person at all for the rest of the day.
Also, like if you miss a drop or if you land a drop, personally, like my mood change. If
Oh
somebody at work comes to me, hey Will, I need this, and I hit a drop, that's gonna be a lucky day for that person because I'm gonna be in a happy mood. I will help you out, whatever. If some best person, texts me, hey Will, can you help me with this? Blah blah blah. And I miss a drop before that, that person will have to wait because I need to get back to my professional state before I can handle work again. Yeah. So, but I think they were trying to help international users who might not live close to the Amazon servers, essentially, and trying to make it fair to everybody. And I think I think they also mentioned that having that half an hour to an hour gap will help them to detect bot as well. I don't know how exactly they do it, but I think it's mostly to make it fair for everybody and make it by chance rather than by internet connection. Although I don't believe so on the internet connection theory, because our friend Maddie, I'm not sure if you remember, but he basically hit a drop when he was on an airplane, 30,000 feet on the air, and like airplane Wi-Fi is terrible. I have hit a drop when I was on my 5G in a Costco. Like it was a very crowded Costco, and I also hit it. And there was times when I was at home, my timing was really good, but I didn't hit anything. So I think it has a lot of the chance, the probability component already. But anyways, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the waitlist.
Yeah. Speaking of like the internet, even I upgraded my home internet plan. I bought the most expensive thing I could get, like for the fastest speed, and it's like probably like an extra $100.
Also, if you think about it, okay, get the most expensive one, like let's just say $500 router, whatever, right? If you hit one drop back in 2021, you're gonna break even or even like make enough profit for the next 2 years. Or even like if you want to get a second or third phone and you hit one good drop, it's gonna be totally worth it.
It's true. That's today, not so much. Today, not so much. And
Yeah.
right now, I'm just like for the past maybe year, I've been paying like $100 extra a month just
Wow.
for the best internet that I could get. And like now, I'm just like wondering like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I wasting this money on something that I don't even go for drops anymore? I don't.
Yeah, same.
I mean, today was like one of those exceptions. Like with the Hulk, I had plenty of extra gems in my account, and so I was just like, okay, I saw the floor at like 8 gems under or 7 gems under retail. So I was like, okay, I might lose like 8 to 10 gems at a time for each one that is not a good mint. But I ended up, after going for the maximum of 5 of those store purchases, I made a profit because I got one decent mint and I sold the other ones at losses.
Okay.
I was feeling froggy. I was in a gambling mood. But yeah, like otherwise I don't go for those drops anymore from the store. I'm just almost exclusively on the secondary market now. So
Yeah, same.
I'm kind of with you. Like I don't think it's worth paying for really good internet anymore for drops, especially if we're gonna go with that waitlist system.
Yeah. And I think somebody mentioned like Ecomi homies or somebody mentioned how we don't have enough users that will make a waitlist system worth it. Like a lot of the drops nowadays don't even sell out. Yeah, so that's a waitlist. That was something else on my list for the AMA. Beside the waitlist, the other topics that they talked about were payout. Payout was number 4 on my list. So basically VeVe is working on issues with Wire. So there's some issue with cash out and they'll be finding other options to avoid this single point of failure going forward. And in total, we have 20,000 users with CryptoPin. I think we're both in it. So that's good. And the other things include Q2 priorities. There are 3 of them. The first one is OMI to NFT, and they're basically working on linking OMI to NFT purchases to in-app benefits. So if you buy NFTs using OMI, you will get some MTP points and the OMI will be burned as well. And then there's going to be, well, they didn't really confirm new exchanges, but Bree did mention that exchanges are very important for people to start utilizing OMI, because if the pathway to acquire OMI is so complicated as it is today, then OMI to NFT will not be utilized by more people, simply because right now you have to do so many steps in order to buy OMI and sell OMI. So exchange might be potentially coming. I'm not sure if it's going to be Q2, 3, or 4, but I have a feeling that it has to come in order for them to start applying utilities to OMI, because people need an easier way and a more reliable way to acquire OMI. No financial advice, it's just what I think. The next thing is that they will improve the user experience on the web app and have that consistency across platforms, because right now VeVe's on mobile app, which is great, but the web app looks kind of laggy. Like the social feed on the web app doesn't really work, and a few other things too, like going for drops on the web app is kind of laggy, and finding collectible is pretty tricky too. So they will improve on that just to make it easier for everybody to use regardless of your device. And last but not least, they will improve ways for you to spend your MCP points to get maybe additional waitlist entries to get you a higher probability of getting drops and those kind of things. So they said it's going to be Q2 priorities, but that doesn't mean April. It might take into like late June or even spill over to July and August to the summer. So if I personally, I have very low expectation on these deadlines. And the last point is interoperability. Basically, the team is exploring options with Immutable X to introduce this feature. It's not going to be a certain answer or a confirmation. It's that the point here is they are working on it and they will let us know as things progress. That's that's about it for the AMA. The way I think about it is it was surprisingly good in the sense that they were able to address the concerns of the community, the things that people were paying attention to, and the things that were close to deadlines. For example, MCP, the over-the-counter transaction on priorities for Q3, and payout waitlist. It was a very short AMA. I know that you were working and didn't have the chance to listen to it, but I managed to listen to it. It was short, concise, and to the point. It was like just a half an hour. And they also gave out the Disney potions to those who attended. Well, to some attendees, but I have an advice to everybody, which is, and this is not financial advice, the way I look at the VeVe deadlines is, and this is from Hello K, he was on my channel a long time ago. He said that if VeVe gives you a deadline, let's just say a month, it's better to use that and multiply it by 1.5. So if they say a month, give them 6 weeks, because that's usually how much time VeVe will take, or even longer. So if they say, VeveVerse mid-April, my expectation for that will be pretty low. And if they surprise me, then good, but if they don't surprise me and they are late into May, then because my expectation is low, if the reality doesn't match it, then I'm fine with it.
I'd say I'm pretty satisfied with the direction that we're headed in. At least they've vocalized it instead of just staying quiet,
Yeah.
That suspense of just wanting to hear somebody from the VeVe team put it into the atmosphere, right? Put it out there. The fact that they vocalized these different points and acknowledged that they're working on it, or it's forthcoming, that gives me a little bit more peace of mind, and I can go back to focusing on my activity on the market, or going on about my daily life in real life.
Yeah, I do agree with you as well. That is it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that our summary of the AMA have give you a good perspective, just some extra input on what the near future would be, because it's going to be, a lot of these updates will be materialized, and it may be in like 2 weeks or even less than that. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe, give us a review, tweet at us, and again, don't forget to follow and subscribe so you don't miss out on the actionable and valuable insights, everything VeVe and OMI related. Thank you so much for being here. We hope to see you again next time. Bye, guys.
Take care.